Hello, and welcome to Haze Reviews. I'm Nick and I'm the creator of the channel. I wanted to make a short video to welcome people. We've had more subs recently, a little growth and more people landing here on the channel. So I wanted to make a short video just explaining why I do what I do, what I'm doing, and a little bit about who I am. So hang in there for the next 10-15 minutes or so and get to know me a little better, and I'll tell you all about what I'm doing here on Haze Reviews. Why did I start this channel? It seems to me that most people in the world, most of us, have been lied to and deceived on an epic scale that is almost impossible to comprehend, and the scale of which is so gargantuan that many people just switch off and they don't really want to accept or entertain the possibility that most of what they think they know, most of what they believe, in many cases most of what they value, is actually a lot of BS that's been supplanted in their minds through various mechanisms, not only their minds but also the minds of their parents and their grandparents. And this is how it's perpetuated on through the ages and has been going on for hundreds, if not thousands of years, against the bulk of humanity by a small minority of people who want to exploit and control and manipulate and dumb down and enslave those multitudes and masses of people across the world. So as a consequence of all these lies and deceit and misdirections that have been perpetrated upon the vast majority of people, what I see and experience a lot of the time is people taking actions which are harmful not only to themselves but also to other people, to the people around them or humanity on aggregate. And this could be classified and labeled as immoral behavior. If you're carrying out behavior that harms yourself and harms other people, and then that's a net negative, and you could say that's immoral. And a lot of this immorality and immoral behavior, it comes from a place of ignorance, and it comes from a place of not knowing how the world works, not knowing how human psychology works, and being subject to this power differential that's been created by an artificial knowledge gap between a parasitic minority and the rest of us. So because so many of us are acting immorally due to this power differential, this knowledge gap that is maintained between the parasitic few and the rest of us, this perpetuates a situation in which the majority of humanity are living in a state of slavery, and that is going to continue. So the remedy to this situation, if we want to interrupt it and get people out of this condition of slavery and exploitation and being relentlessly dumbed down and turned against one another and having their freedom and potential undermined constantly and taken away, we have to behave differently. And in order to behave differently, we have to come to a more accurate understanding of what is true. If we understand what is true, then we can take action with a better idea of what the outcome of those actions will be. We're not taking action from a place of ignorance and from a place of faulty reason and faulty logic. We're not expecting outcomes that will not happen, because we are more aligned with what are the cause and effect systems that are in place that govern human action. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to push the needle of humanity's understanding closer towards truth, closer towards an accurate holistic, complete understanding of where we are, who we are, where we came from, what it means to be human, what are the different layers and levels of being a human and being specifically a moral human in an immoral world. And so in a nutshell, that's why I made the channel. It is to be a place where people can come to find the truth, or at least to find my honest and earnest exploration and journey towards figuring out and finding out what is the truth. And I want to share that with people, because the best way to learn anything is to teach it. And so if I can gather my resources and the things I've learned and the places that I've been going to find good information, accurate information, in order to dispel the lies and the myths and the treacherous deceits that are being perpetrated upon us on a mass scale, I can teach that to other people and help pull other people along with me, kicking and screaming whether they like it or not, but hopefully you will like it, because this is how we get out of the predicament that we're in. It's by turning towards what is moral and figuring out how to act morally in this world. And that always comes from a position of knowledge, a position of understanding, and a position of alignment with what is true. So that's a little bit about why I'm doing this. I thought next I would answer, what am I doing? And what are we doing, more importantly, and more accurately is the question. Well, Haze Reviews is going to be a resource for people who recognize that the best place to learn is from books. I'm very keen on lifting up awareness and appreciation for books as a store of information, because at the present time we're heading into a situation where everything is digitally recorded, and digital records can be edited on the fly. They can be changed, they can be manipulated, hidden, scrubbed from the internet. The internet is this quicksand, ever changing, morphing, shifting repository of incredible information with a lot of good stuff, but it can be deleted with the press of a few buttons. And we've experienced unprecedented censorship recently. And so books are a hedge against that censorship. Books, you can buy and have them and own them. You can read them and reread them, highlight, mark them up. You can find the references and the sources that the writer has drawn from, and you can use that to teach other people. So that's how I'm doing what I do. I'm reading books and I'm reading articles, and I'm trying to gather information from a wide variety of sources to synthesize it here, so that together we can learn forward and make a better, accurate map of reality. So I'm going to be making book reviews. I'll be live streaming book chapters and readings from books to stimulate discussion and to put onto people's radar good sources of information, better sources of information than a Wikipedia or the context banners that pop up underneath the YouTube videos. It's all about closing that knowledge gap that I spoke of earlier, and the best way we do that is by learning. Book reviews, live streams, and other shows, long form shows where I look at headlines, look at articles, dive into some maybe electronic copies of books, in order to provide a jumping off point for people to go and do more learning, and sort of find other avenues of exploration and connect dots in a way that is unique to each one of us, because we all learn differently. We all have to go on our own individual course of learning according to what we find interesting and what pulls us forward and what we enjoy learning about. And that's what I've done. And so I want to help other people do that. I'm not here to provide all the answers and to tell you what to think and to give you the conclusions, but but I am here to provide avenues to explore, threads to pull on, dots to connect, and that's I think a worthwhile endeavor. So we talked a little bit about why I'm doing this, and we talked a little bit about what we're going to be doing here. Nice sculpture there. The final thing to cover on this video is who am I, right? So I'm Nick, and I'm 37 years old. I'm from England. That's the name of my the park we've just been exploring over there on the sign. And I have a background in English teaching and adult social care. I'm currently not working in either of those, but the point of mentioning that is to say that my skill set and my aptitude lies in communication, and specifically the use of words, and even more specifically, trying to understand people and get their message when they don't have a competent and fully formed grasp of words and language, and they're unable to communicate clearly using words and language. Got to switch hands because it's cold. So you got a new angle. So the words are so important because if you don't have words, language, it's a foundational kind of bedrock aspect of reality and how we operate in the world. And to give an example, if you don't have a word for something, then how do you think about it? You need to have labels for things in order to understand them and know what they are and talk about them, to communicate with other people, to move forward with some sort of confidence that you're going to get the outcome in life that you're trying to achieve, right? So language, the way we talk to ourselves, the way we talk to each other, super critically important, and that's something that I've been focusing on and learning about in my career. So as I mentioned, I love books, and combining a love of books with a love of language and words, it creates a nice solid foundation from which to teach others and to build a sort of confidence in an ability to learn and understand what's going on in the world. And so that's kind of who I am and why I'm doing this and what I'm going to be doing here. And I keep saying me, but it's really not about me. It's about interaction and participation and community exploration. What I envisage would be a good outcome would be us exploring these books that I have in my library and building up a kind of knowledge together as we go forward. So it's an invitation really to other people who are concerned about the growing issues we have in the world today. Censorship, the criminocracy that's running things, the continuous, incessant divide and conquer, pitting us against one another, while the people who are running this scam, they don't really have a label. They don't give themselves a label. And for this reason, it's very hard to talk about them, to define who they are, and to get a grip on how they're doing what they're doing. The other thing I haven't mentioned that I think is worth mentioning, which should have gone in the why section, is that I think and believe very strongly that people need to publicly say something about what's going on. There's a saying, the first person, the tallest blade of grass gets chopped first. And that is true to a certain extent, but over the last 4 years now, we've seen those tall blades of grass and they've been getting chopped down and then for each one that gets chopped, another 5 or 10 have appeared in its place. And this is the way it needs to be, right? If people want to see change in the world, they have to first learn about why the world is the way it is. This is understanding the causal factors that lead to the effect of immoral behavior, that leads to the effect of slavery. And they need to be willing to speak about it publicly and teach others and educate others and help other people come to this understanding that we need to change our behaviors, and that comes internally. That means changing ourselves first. And we can whine and complain and moan about all the external things and all the external factors. It's this group, it's that group, it's the government, it's the left team, it's the right team, it's the immigrants, it's the different colored people, whatever, the religionists, the atheists. We can do all the divide and conquer nonsense, but it doesn't get us anywhere. The only thing that gets us anywhere is coming to a better understanding of ourselves, changing the way we ourselves act, and that creates a different reality. And then when we do that on aggregate, en masse, when many of us do that and are engaged in that work, that's when we can see change. And this is why it's important, I think, to say something, to speak publicly, to create the channel, to create the videos and the content and the space for learning, for exploration, for understanding. And that's another aspect of who I am and what I'm trying to achieve here. So I think there you have it. I'm Nick, this is Haze Reviews. It's an absolute honor, delight, and a privilege to have you here. And I hope you really get some value out of what we're trying to achieve and accomplish together. The final thing that I want to say, that I want to get on the record here in this video, is a message of optimism. I want to tell people that one of the reasons that I'm running this channel and doing what I do here is because I am deeply, profoundly optimistic about the power and capacity human beings innately have, the immense potential that we have, and the just incredible abilities we have and capacities for compassion and love and creativity, kindness to each other, integrity, decency, moral behavior, all these good things, all these highest virtues and values that we have innately within us that we've been conditioned and taught to ignore or suppress or to not try and embody. And when you start trying to go on that journey to be a better person, to be a more moral person, incredible things start happening, and you find a deep source and a deep well for optimism. And that's going to manifest differently for everyone. I can speak more about that in other videos and live streams and such, of how it manifested for me, but that's the message. It's one of optimism. It's one of, you can learn, you can change, you can grow, you can be a better person, you can live up to your potential, and you can get better outcomes in life for not only yourself, not only the people you know and you love, but everyone en masse together. There's a lot of traffic, so I'm going to end the video there. God bless.